Number 36, Tao Te Ching. If one wishes to shrink it, one must first expand it. If one wishes to weaken it, one must first strengthen it. If one wishes to discard it, one must first promote it. If one wishes to seize it, one must first give it. This is called subtle clarity. The soft and weak overcome the tough and strong. Fish cannot leave the depths. The sharp instruments of the state cannot be shown to the people. The classical example of this process is pride goeth before the fall. Consider what happens when a promising actor is surrounded by sycophants. They expand and strengthen his ego with endless flattery. He becomes disconnected from reality and believes he can do no wrong. Soon the bubble bursts and his projects collapse. His spectacular failures shrink and weaken his ego. In the meantime, another rising star assembles an entourage and the process starts all over again. This is especially true today. The massive consumerism of our society gives us numerous examples where certain things, gadgets, vehicles, movies, fashion, pop music, and so on, get hyped up to a fever pitch. After a while, the craze passes and we move on to the next in thing. Yesterday's hints, bestsellers, and stars are thrown away and forgotten without a second thought. In order to receive, first we must give. For instance, if we wish to be treated kindly, we must start by giving others loving kindness. If we wish to make friends, we must start by being friendly. If we wish to be respected, we must start by respecting others. This works because the Tao process is circular. The principle underlying all interactions is one of dynamic universal energy exchange. The reason we call these insights subtle is that they seem to be contrary to our habitual thought patterns. To understand them is to become enlightened in the deeper workings of the Tao. Not displaying sharp instruments here refers to the hidden nature of the Tao. The powerful insights of the sages can be used against people. But because it is our nature to nurture rather than harm others, we remain immersed in the benevolent Tao, like the fish keeping to the depths. Any reflection?
I had a lot to say about that, but I'll listen before speaking.
Well, speak.
Speak. Well, the first part was talking about like people having an entourage or like building up egos, people getting sucked into that and becoming like megalomaniacs and all that stuff. And then, you know, when they fail, of course, nobody's going to be real to them and tell them like, man, like, it's not cool. They go to the next thing. Like, prime example, I mean, real life examples like Kanye West, like, you know, going to a mental institution. I don't know if it's publicity stunt or not, but that's a textbook example of, I think, what they're trying to say in the Tao Te Ching. And it reminds me actually of a quote Jimi Hendrix said years ago, like, oh, we setting your guitar on fire, is it a gimmick? And he owned up to it. It's like, yeah, it's a gimmick. It's like, you know, it's like the circus. You come into town, everybody gravitates toward you leave and they gravitate towards the next thing, but he was at least conscious of it. Some people, I won't say some, but the majority of people get caught up in that. They believe that the hype is real.
You don't have more to say about those. You said there's a lot. It's not that much.
More quality over quantity. I mean, on a personal note, I can see things. Just to add more, just my own personal experience. You know, people can get caught up in the, oh, well, you're doing this and you're doing that, but when you know the reality, like how you're living, you know, you can take praise or you can take insults as what it is, but you don't get caught up in it.
Yeah.
And the last part was like, hey, if you want people to treat you well, of course, you treat them well first. And it just gets me to think about like compassion. Like, hey, even if you don't like somebody and they do something wrong, even if you chastise them, you do it with compassion.
That chapter gets me to think about a lot about the schools, like what we went through in the past. Like even like something so minor. You're talking about like big people, like big artists like Kanye West. But even like in this small school, we deal with that, like little like egos that get built up, and then it explodes, and then so we learn quick, about that endless flattery and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I think seeing it is really important. Like seeing it before it even happens. Like if before you become famous, and you see what will happen, and you identify it, and then while it's happening, if it does happen, like you handle it with wisdom. I think that's important. Opposed to getting opposed to just kind of getting sucked into it and then believing what everybody's telling you and thinking it's real, but it's not, Like everybody's telling you you're God, you're like, well, I think I am God. But then like that's bullshit. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm a regular ass dude.
Well, to add to the whole God thing, my whole thing when people try to say that they're God or somebody else is God, if you're God, then who are you praying to?
That's the whole point. Yeah, themselves. They pray to themselves, and that's the whole thing about the ego. That's what they call about narcissism. Is there's people that pray to God and worship whatever, and then there's the people that worship themselves, and that's what happens when. I mean, the society kind of promotes that. That's why like every single successful person, they label them narcissism. Like Donald Trump, Bill Gates, Bruce Lee, like Mayweather. I mean, everybody that's really good at what they do in this world and considered successful, they're labeled as narcissists because all they care about is themselves, and they're so absorbed into themselves, and they build up an audience to praise them while they praise themselves. And
Jesus.
Need to bow down to these Yeezys. Jesus died for y'all sins. Alright, let me stop.
And he even made a song like about ego or some shit, and he's even saying, how strong his ego is. I mean, basically they glorify the ego, and the thing that started with Sigmund Freud. Like part of Freud's teachings is the stronger ego means you're a healthier person. But then Buddha's teaching is pretty much like the opposite. Like the stronger your ego, the more mentally ill you are, pretty much. And that's like the contrast between like the Eastern and then the Western. And then the West keeps promoting Freud's teachings, like in all the colleges you go to, they're like studying Freud because they want everybody to be self-absorbed into their own egos.
Freud was a psycho too, man.
Yeah, so these teachings help you understand the other side of it, and then you gotta figure out, the truth when you see all this stuff going on.
Well, it kind of makes sense now you put it like that. Like you said, the East looks at it like, hey, somebody who has a big, like, out of control ego is like this person is sick, like they're unhealthy mentally. And then for the Western part of view is like, hey, they're not, self-absorbed, they're not full of ego, they're sick. You're like, something's wrong with you. So.
And they even talk about in paintings, like Western paintings compared to Eastern. like the Western painting would be like, would just be like a photo and then just like the selfie, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then the Eastern painting is more like there's a whole, you see like the whole nature and you see a little ass dude down there, who the hell is that? Like that, that's like Eastern, like it's showing like the world. But then the West is like, the world is me. So then it's just all like, it's all about me, you know? Like your whole face is all
You see his eye when he looks at the background.
You are the mountain.
So the Tao is trying to get you to see the Eastern, the other side of it, you know? And, you know, you just see how the culture is. I mean, you see how people, you know, reach, what people had to do to become successful. And you might play the game, but you don't get caught up in it. You know what's real. And I think that's one of the differences when you are in tune with the other side of the teachings and in tune with your inner being. So then if stuff does come crashing down, you don't go crazy about it. You already prepared, you already know, like, shit. Like, you're surprised that it didn't happen earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just like thankful that, hey, you know, one time I was talking to Desmond about it, you know, he mentioned, like, man, you know, when you got it going on, you got this fame going on, you just gotta take it, you gotta ride it out and just appreciate it while it lasts, because it's gonna end, you know. So when there comes a time when you're gonna be famous or rich or whatever, enjoy it while it lasts, but know that it's gonna end. You know what I'm saying? So, and
I think it's the same on the other side of the coin when shit is down in the dumps and ride it out.
yeah,
You know, it's gonna balance itself if you stay in it.
yeah.
Yeah, I keep telling my cousin that. He's like, you're so optimistic. I'm like, like I try to be, but like you said, when you know things like the other side of the coin, a pendulum can only swing so far before it goes the other way.
I mean, you see it in the workforce. I mean, you guys pay attention. Like, there'll be somebody that has a position of power. He might be the boss or some shit. And then when he walks in the room, everybody's all smiling, happy, and shaking his hand and saying, flattering him. Then he leaves the room, everybody's talking all this shit. Like, that's what happens when you have fame or money. You have a lot of fake shit going on around you, and then you just, if you're not wise, you get caught up and you don't know what's fake, what's real, you know. And then you gotta get grounded. You gotta see, you know, see through the deceptions. And then the other part that got me to think about the school too is, if you wish to be respected, we must start by respecting others. And I noticed that, you know, it's like some people join the school that I've trained, and it's like they're here to, it's like they want people to worship them or some shit like that, you know. It's like they want power and control over other people. Like, that's why they're here. They're not here to work out. You know, they're not here to, you know, learn the martial arts. They're here because they want to tell people what to do, and they want other people bowing down to them and shit like that. Like, they'll start, you know. And you see, because I joined a fraternity when I was in college. It's like that in fraternity too. It's like oh, you're a pledge, or you a piece of shit. You know, then you gotta call me big brother, you gotta bow down to me, all this other shit. It's like, who the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that whole ego mentality. That's how it's like, that's how it is. You know, it's like they think that they're better than you because they're in here and you're not, and you're trying to get in there, you know. And that's how martial arts is too in some schools, where they think they're so much better than you because they've been here longer or some other shit, you know. And then they try to get the people that come through the door to bow down or all this shit. And it's like what the thing is saying, it's like, if you don't learn to respect other people, then how the hell are you going to expect them to respect you? So when you treat them that way, like you're better than them from the get-go, then how the hell are you supposed to expect anybody to respect you? Because you don't respect them.
Yeah.
You know, like every person that walks through the door, you should give them respect, not just because, oh, he's a beginner, so I'm not gonna respect him. Oh, he can't spar, I'm not gonna respect him. Or it'll be like somebody be like, oh, you know, oh shit, you know that person. Oh, he's rich. Oh, let me respect him because he's rich. Oh, he's riding a Specialized. No, I'm not gonna disrespect him.
Can't take that.
It's like you see how people are like that, and almost everybody's like that, and it's sad, you know, that people only treat people with respect when they have money or there's somebody that's important. But they'd be like, oh, you know, this person doesn't have a college degree, oh, let's disrespect him. Oh, he's just a waiter, oh, let's disrespect him. You know, it's like people would judge everybody based on their occupations, based on how they dress, based on how much money they have. And that is like, that's not the Tao, that's not the true way. And if you want people to respect you, you gotta respect everybody, no matter the rich or poor or whoever, beginner or advanced. Like, try to respect everybody. And then with that respect, then they'll start to respect you. And they'll see, hey, he's been here before me, and I have to respect that because he's like my bigger brother. You know, and when there's respect going both ways, then that's like a true relationship. But the other shit is not a relationship. That other shit is just, you just want other people to be your slave or some shit. And it's just, like, idolize you or whatever the hell. And that's not the way. And I notice certain people that I train that are like that. And it's just, that's ugly. Like, I don't ever want that, you know. I want to get rid of that. So that's why I don't really want to emphasize ranks and all the other shit, because that's kind of what it trains people to feel like, oh, I'm a black belt, you a white belt, you ain't shit. But then you got white belt, you got motherfuckers out the street whooping up black belts and shit. You know, like, it's just all that rank shit. It's just a bunch of nonsense. But the rank would only mean something if there's respect going both ways, you know. Yeah. You know, so I always try to, when new people start, I always try to see the qualities that are like, where I see like, wow, you know, this person is, you know, like, great at what he does, you know, like somebody might not be strong, but then they might be like really good at something else, and then you just learn to respect people for whatever, you know. Or some people, it's like they're just good people, like a good heart, and then you just respect that. Like, wow, you know, this person has a good heart. They might not be athletic, but it's not just about that, you know. You know, you just see the good qualities in everybody, and then you just learn to respect everybody. When you respect them for what the goods that you see in them, then they'll start to respect you. And that's what's very important, especially for the people that have been here longer, is to learn to respect everybody that comes in here. And then we grow a school with respect rather than people that are just kind of competing with each other from the get-go, and there's like negative energy. Everybody could feel it, especially in such a small school like this. You feel that negative energy, and then people don't like it, and they don't want to come back. And that's why a lot of people don't like going to the gym and shit, because it's uncontrolled. You can't control who the hell goes up in the gym. You go in there, everybody's competing with your ass, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's competing. And in here, we want to get away from that shit. We just want to be in peace and just do our thing and get away from all that stuff. Because we get enough of that stuff out there. I mean, the world's filled up with all that, and that competitive energy. I mean, it's not easy, you know, because we're kind of trained to compete, but we have to, we could still do it in a very respectful and friendly, and, you know, like a difference between you, like, competing with your brother than some stranger that you never even met, you know, he don't care about you, you don't care about him, you trying to kill each other. You know what I'm saying? But if you're sparring with your brother, your father, or some shit, you're like, man, I don't want to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just want to have fun, but you don't want to hurt each other, you know? It's totally different, you know?
I was watching, I wasn't watching it, but it was on the TV, so I started watching it. Over at my brother-in-law's, they were watching like MMA. And I can't think of the last time I actually sat and watched that for any length of time.
Did your eyes start hurting?
It's just hard to watch, man. Shit. I mean, like, these cats are just trying to kill each other. Just the whole competition thing, man. It's just like, it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. And the form is terrible too.
Yeah.
75% of the fights just spent on the ground. What the fuck are you guys doing?
They got this one, and just the whole, the ego, the boosting, the
Yeah.
the fans.
Yeah.
They got this one, I guess this up and coming cat from Korea. He got his ass fucking whooped, but they were just talking about, yeah, but he didn't fall, and he can take a punch, and
That's not something to glorify.
it was just a bloodbath, and it's the audience that's just like watching that shit. It's pretty crazy. There was no spirituality in that ring. It was not martial arts. That was just street combat. Fight to the death.
Well,
Go ahead.
they should remake Mortal Kombat.
Finish him.
I think that would be a good idea because there'll be less of them. You know, like, it's just basically just, if you really want to do it, then just do it to the end. I mean, I don't promote street fighting, but at least it's real. I mean, gangbangers actually kill each other, and then people will be like, shit, we gotta stop this gang violence. But that's what's real. You know, like, when somebody's dying, when actually somebody dies, then you're like, man, like somebody's father's fighting in that ring, and if he ends up dying, like, it's gonna affect the family, and then they're like, man, like, we gotta stop this stuff. But because they're fighting until they almost die, oh, it's alright. Let's just keep going with it. Let's make money off this. But no, it's like, the real reality is, there's no room for mistake. One loss is your life, so you don't play around with that. So, I mean, you look at street violence, all these drive-by shootings and innocent people getting killed and all that stuff. How could you say that that's good? And how could you say, like, sorry, like, as long as we make money from it, it's all good. Like, how could you say that, like, so it's very self-explanatory that we shouldn't be doing that. And we want to do what we can to stop that. But with the combat sport, it's like, just beat him down until he's almost dead, but just not dead. All right, that's good. You're good. It's legal. It's legal. It's legal. So, I mean, everybody knows my point of view on it, but if you guys watch it, just see how it makes you feel and come up with your own, conclusion on what you think is what's good, what's not, what's martial arts, what's fighting. What's the difference between martial arts and violence? You gotta know that. I shouldn't have to tell you, but you should know. I mean, and hopefully you come to the same conclusions that I do, so then we're on the same page, but to me it's obvious that that's not martial arts. I mean, the people might be dope, some of them might be dope, but still ain't martial arts, because, I mean, But I mean, that's what people are entertained by. That's what makes money, you know. But I think the world is slowly coming to more of a understanding of, it's like people getting all obese, eating McDonald's, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we gotta eat healthier. Let's go to Chipotle now or something. I mean, it's a little healthier, you know what I'm saying? But they're trying to go a little bit healthier than
McDonald's owns Chipotle.
then McDonald's is like, oh yeah, let's use real chicken now.
I just want real chicken. No comment. You stop right there.
So I mean, I think there's always hope that people will head towards the good, but they're always gonna be the alcohol, the drugs, the cigarettes, the fighting, the violence, the gambling, the prostitution. There's always gonna be that, but there's hope that the culture as a whole will eventually gravitate away from that. And it happens slowly, but it can it happens. Like that movie Concussion, Will Smith was saying, it wasn't that successful and people didn't even give a shit. And
too busy watching football.
Attention, I didn't change nothing. But then at the same time, I'm reading more and more articles of them talking about the concussions and CTE and the research, and I mean, it's a slow process, but it's happening, where people weren't paying attention to stuff like that before. But now they're kind of more aware of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Concussion's not going to have as much box office as fucking Star Wars. But I mean, you can't say that the shit didn't do nothing. I mean, it did something.
I heard something on the radio this morning. They have some new procedure where they can diagnose a concussion with like 95% accuracy, before whatever that thing is,
CTE.
Yeah, before that sets in. So somebody's working on it.
Yeah.
You don't hear about it. That ain't stopping nobody from playing football.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, wait, y'all gonna pay me $100 million to run running back for the Cowboys? Right.
I mean, there's always gonna be people that are gonna do that, but at least when there's more of the information out there, then some people's decisions will change.
I think he said the key thing is culture. Why is the culture, everybody is okay with this? Actually, it's verbatim, reminds me of a passage from his book I was reading about Dr. King talking about the assassination of Kennedy. He's like, the climate, society as a whole allowed this to happen. Like, why would, a citizen kill the president of the United States? Which, when you think about it, is crazy.
Yeah, hope it don't happen again with this asshole in office.
Hey. I don't worry about things I can't control.